Welcome to Personal Finance Reimagined. Every month, we bring you a new way to think about personal finance and decision-making tailored to life's most important moments. Through our unique belief and behavioral-based approach, we help you unlock the power of consistent, confident decision-making for a lifetime of wealth and well-being. I'm Jeff Hewlett, founder of Personal Finance Reimagined, and your guide for today's discussion. My passion lies in helping individuals and organizations make smarter, more empowering financial decisions. It's an honor to share strategies and insights that can make a real difference in your life. Today is part of our vidcast series. These conversations are designed to inspire, inform, and equip you with practical strategies and to take charge of your financial future. March is dedicated to the best college decision. Join us as we uncover actionable insights to help you or people you care about to achieve college return on investment. Today, I'm excited to welcome Vinny Jask and his mother, Phyllis Jask, to Personal Finance Reimagined. Vinny, your story is a fantastic example of how smart college decisions can lead to both academic success and financial stability. Your successful transfer from community college to a 4-year residential university, overcoming hesitations and financial obstacles all along the way.
Yeah. Hey, guys.
And then Phyllis not only played a pivotal role in Vinny's decision-making process, but also worked with me as the editor and project manager for my book, Making Choices, Making Money. She even wrote Vinny's case study for the book, helping to highlight the benefits of community college as an affordable and effective path to a 4-year degree. Today, we'll explore Vinny's journeys, Phyllis's support, and how this experience can help others make confident college choices.
Thanks so much for having us, Jeff. We're really excited to tell Vinny's story today.
Oh, yay. Well, awesome. Okay. So give you a little bit of background, and just to kind of kick us off here. So I want to share, and probably no surprise to you, Phyllis, I want to share that I'm a big college ROI person, and ROI stands for return on investment. I believe all people are better served by being clear about what they want to achieve from college and to confirm that what they are paying is worth that return. Also, I believe our government has gotten off track with how they market student loans. They have statistics showing how people with higher education levels achieve higher salaries and lower unemployment rates. However, that marketing is sometimes deceiving because it leaves out all the risks. To describe those risks, and I want to just kind of tell this little story. So next is this little story that I wrote, pretending to be the government, honestly speaking to a high school student. So I call this story the regrettable door story. So here we go. Here's a door that opens to millions of long-term wealth, millions of dollars of long-term wealth. But what we do not tell you is that this is only one of 10 doors. The other 9 doors could lead to a defaulted loan, poor jobs, poverty, and stress. When making the college decision, we will only tell you about the $1 million door and not even admit the other 9 doors exist. Unless you figure it out on your own, you could easily walk through one of the other 9 regrettable doors. So good luck. Okay, so that's my story. And by the way, that story, the statistics comes from what's called the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or the BLS. They have if you go to their website or Google higher education pays, it's kind of like right on the very front of that. They show that information, right? But again, my complaint is, while they show that one success path, they don't show what it's like to make a decision when you're a senior in high school, right? Where you have all these different potential outcomes. They only talk about the one best outcome, right? And that's, that I struggle with that a little bit, just because it's like, hey, you want to disclose all that. But anyway, but they don't do that. That's fine. It's well, maybe it's not fine, but it's what they do. And so that is one of the things that, that I kind of struggle with, but it's one of the reasons why I am so focused on college ROI and helping people, and encouraging people to really think about that. And honestly, Vinny, I see you as somebody who really, has achieved a wonderful approach, right? In terms of how you went this community college path, you're finding your way in terms of college ROI. So I do have a couple of questions for you. So first, Vinny, you were hesitant about attending community college, as far as I understood, and especially because you were looking at least initially at wanting the traditional college experience. So I'm just curious, what changed your mind and how did you overcome your initial hesitations?
Yeah, so I was originally an animation major. All throughout high school, I did a lot of art. And when it kind of came down to making a college decision, I'd gotten to a lot of good art schools. But to be completely frank, my grades were too poor to really guarantee me into any good university. And when it really became apparent that art school just doesn't work, period, community college was really the only option for me. And that was a lot of pulling teeth on my mom's end to get me to kind of go along with it well. And I eventually did see the broader picture and agreed to go. But it was a difficult decision, especially when a lot of my friends were going to art school. A lot of my friends were going to like big universities, and then suddenly I'm stuck in like downtown Orlando going to community college. It was a big adjustment.
So when you say Vinny, school doesn't work, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Like what does that mean to you that art school doesn't work? Or why do you think that, at least in your case?
Speaking to return on investment, you're looking at most prestigious art schools charging 150 to anywhere from $220,000 for a 4-year degree in either fine arts, animation, and to make that back just isn't realistic. Going into the art world, especially now with things like generative AI corroding the creative industries, you're just not making a massive salary starting off. And even if you can make that, maybe in like your 30s or 40s as an established career animator or anything like that, it's saddling you with so much debt that you're just not paying off in that like front term, and that just keeps compounding. So it's just not worth it, truly.
Right. So your thought was, okay, and I'm even setting aside grades. You said you didn't think your grades were great, but just setting that aside, even if you had great grades, what I'm hearing you say is, I don't know, even with great grades, well, let me ask you that question. Do you think it would have mattered? Like if you had gotten into those better schools, if, sort of the alternate universe, Vinny, right? Like, do you think that would have mattered or not?
It's difficult to say. So if I had the grades to get into a better university, I can't immediately say I would have chosen immediately or even considered the fact, oh, let me go to community college first to save that money, especially because
Right.
in Florida, just specifically Florida, really low cost per credit hour. UCF, the school I go to right now, has $212 per credit hour. Valencia, the community college I went to, was in the hundreds. So it wasn't that big of a difference. If I was still living in Virginia or like going to school in Boston or something, and I was faced with $1,000 per credit hour bill at a big university versus
Right.
$100 at a community college, the decision would have been much different. And I probably
Right.
would have sat down and considered going to community college.
Oh, that's actually really interesting because, my mindset is the cost per credit hour for community college is significantly below that of like a 4-year residential college. But you're saying in Florida, they're actually pretty close.
Yeah, so Florida's really good about that actually. Even UF, it is
If
a
you're a
more
resident,
if
sorry
you
to
are a
Yeah, yeah,
interrupt.
yeah.
resident.
If you are
Yeah.
an
Right.
in-state resident, if you're an out-of-state resident, it's not that
Right.
before.
You're
like,
paying full
compare-
rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as a Florida resident, the state actually gives really great perks for doing well in high school. The Florida Bright Futures program,
Right.
cheap college. They really make higher education more feasible than in the higher northern states.
Okay. Well, then so then at some level, then like ROI, like I'm thinking, okay, so you had a couple choices, I guess. There were some art schools that are really expensive that you could have gotten into, but it would have been really expensive. The less expensive Florida residential perhaps weren't an option to you as a freshman, but then you had
Yeah.
the community colleges that were an option. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, so I had gotten into Ringling and SCAD, two pretty prestigious art universities, but the price was exorbitant. I
Right.
truly just did not have the grades to make it into a four-year university. So community college was kind of the only route I could have taken. And I really did want to pursue higher education. That was,
Right.
and it's obviously a very big goal of mine. So I still did it.
Right. Yeah. 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 So I think, I mean, we kind of got this. I had a question about the biggest financial factors in your decision, but I think we kind of hit on that, which is again, just to kind of recap, there were kind of three different options. One option was kind of off the table, which was a little bit lower cost Florida in-state residential college. You could have gone to the more, I guess, prestigious art schools like SCAD or Ringling, but would have paid a pretty hefty private school price. And then you had
Yeah.
the I guess, is it Valencia or the community college?
Yeah, SCF, any of those.
Okay, got it, got it. Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. So, community college provides you with resources, I think, or maybe if you want to tell us a little bit about some of the resources that community college provided, because when I think of community college, one of the things that I think about is that sometimes they don't have the level of resources that like a four-year college would have in terms of other supports, other than the classroom, right? Is that true? Like, was your experience at community college that it had the resources that you need, or do you feel like there's a big difference between like the 2-year and the 4-year with the extra resources beyond the classroom?
So really the only extra resources I've really gotten out of UCF are clubs, registered student organizations. I'm part of a financial management association. It's the opportunities out of class that you get for career development. That's been stellar at the four-year university. At community college, you just don't get that. But you
Right.
do get smaller class sizes and just more face-to-face time with professors. It is impossible to get face-to-face time with professors unless you're like wedging your way into office hours here.
Got it.
Vinny, can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the study centers? Because I believe you spent a fair amount of time in the tutor center at Valencia your first two
Yeah,
years.
so Valencia was pretty rough, especially the first semester. I had to be put into almost a remedial math class to relearn algebra. And the study centers they had at community college were actually amazing. It was university students working there, so they were pretty top notch, either like PhD or masters, walking you through math concepts. And in that, I really did learn how to kind of decompartmentalize information, study super well to the point where I don't really need to hop into study centers that much just because my experience at community college set me up with the study skills I needed to succeed and kind of like triumph over classes at UCF.
Right. It's funny, Vinny, you mentioned the word study skills, or maybe it's close cousin study habits,
Hmm.
right? And, one of the things, I mean, one of my beliefs, and I want to test this on you, is that, student success I feel like there's this myth about there are smart kids, there are some people that are just smarter than others. And what I've come to appreciate is smartness is misunderstood. Success in college really has everything to do with study habits and study skills. Those with them come across as smart, they get the good grades, but those that don't have the study skills or study habits tend to struggle. And again, I'm testing here. Is that your experience, or would you add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of understanding, and so to preface this, all of my roommates are either in STEM or kind of heavier stuff. My roommate Jack is a math major, engineers, political science. So we all have experience with like difficult classes. And what I've really seen is that there are people who are legitimately just smart. They can look at calculus, integrals, whatever, and just get it like that. There are people who just don't have that and study hard and kind of get good grades. And then there's people who are still normal, but they just don't study and then they fail. And they think they're stupid because they failed. The
Right.
real issue is the studying. You have to study. You have to study a lot. And if there's a class you're in that is going to or that you know is going to be more difficult, you need to set aside more time within a week, within a month to study that, to master it and completely understand how it works.
Now, Vinny, and maybe I'm misunderstanding here, but did you stick to art or did you switch majors?
I did switch so sophomore year, I switched majors from art to finance.
Oh,
Pretty pretty big
wait
switch,
a
but
second. Right brain, left brain. That's quite a leap there.
yeah, so
Tell me about that. How did you go from the art to the what I think of finance as being a much more practical numbers driven thing?
yeah, so during classes I had to take my general education courses. And on top of that, I was also taking like, oh, the art courses I needed for my major. Um, and in doing those, I realized I hated all of my art classes and I loved all of my math classes.
Oh my God.
College algebra was the highest I'd ever gotten in a math class in my life. I finished that class with like a 98. And I just jumped into it. I loved it so much. And then spring semester of sophomore year, even though I was still an art major, I chose to take a pre-calculus class just because I enjoyed it so much. And that semester kind of cemented I
Wait.
don't want.
I want to make sure I understand. You enjoy math?
Oh, absolutely. I think
I
everybody
love
should enjoy
that.
math.
I thought I
Yeah.
was the only geeky person who liked math. All right.
Yeah,
That's
but I
awesome.
mean, I, math
Now let
is
me ask you, did you like math in high school?
no, no, I hated math in
So
high school.
now let me ask you then, sometimes do you think you came to like math because you had a good teacher? Or did you come to like math because it sort of emerged, like you got the confidence to realize, oh, I'm actually pretty good at math?
So really, my hatred for math in high school stemmed from elementary school, where I had math teachers that would just berate me if I got a question wrong. And surprisingly, if you punish children for getting things wrong, they're going to end up hating that thing. So I just hated math for throughout high school. I thought I'm not good at it. I can't, it doesn't work in my brain. And I just completely brushed it off. College actually changed that, not because I had a good teacher. Well, I had great teachers, but it wasn't because of them. It was sitting down in the study sessions because I knew if I want to pass this class, I have to do well. And it was just working through the problems and realizing these are all just puzzles. There's a set of rules, and you have to solve the puzzle based off those rules. And then having like grad students and PhDs kind of sitting down and like working it through with you helped so much in building my confidence and my math skills, and just really cemented that like I was never dumb. No one's really, there's a very, very small percentage of people who truly do not have the ability to understand math. Anybody can. Like anybody can jump into it and get it down, you know?
Oh, I love that. That's a little bonus story here. I hadn't heard that, Vinny. That's really awesome. I love that, and it's sort of warming to my heart because, as you may know, I'm a finance professor at James Madison, and yeah, I have advanced degrees, including mathematics. So yeah, I love all those subjects, and and what's interesting to me is I find artistic outlet, as weird as that sounds, but maybe I see the world more through numbers, but I still see lots of creativity, just kind of, but through an expression, right, of math, finance, and all those topics. So
Right.
that's really wonderful. So I wanted to shift gears a little bit, and I want to, Vinny, I want to bring in your mom now. So as you know, Vinny, I've gotten to know your mom over the last couple of years. She was like so critical in helping me, and supporting me, and dragging me through the process of writing a book with great patience, which I really appreciated, since I had never done it before, and your mom, of course, does it all the time. So that was really great. So. Phyllis, now I just want to kind of shift gears a little bit to the parents' role, and I know that you're of course in a partnership with your husband, but we'll but focus on you a little bit here. So as the parent, you wanted Vinny to make the best financial and academic choices, and of course, like as all parents, we want our children to be happy, but we also know they face a life where their achievements and their education will help them to be happy, right? So I'm just curious, like, what advice did you give him during his decision process, whether it was in high school and then as when he was making decisions about transferring, and also how did you help him feel confident in that choice?
Sure, sure. And these are all, I think, questions that any parent has, with their kids, and especially when you're not seeing eye to eye. Here's your child who you love insisting, no, art school, art school. I got to do this. I got to do this. And my husband and I were thinking, no, that is really not a great choice, considering your study skills are lacking. There's no guarantee you're going to excel in art school, even if you insist that grades aren't such a great, I don't need the big grades to get into art school. Yeah, but you kind of do. And, really kind of trying to help him navigate that, to help him understand that the decisions you make now are really going to have a huge ripple effect later in your life. We don't wish you to have a future riddled with student loan payments. We don't want you to be in your 50s with a family and a mortgage and children and still be paying on your student loans. So, the long-term financial impacts of going to an art school we just thought it was not smart for him to do this. So we really steered him to, rethink the community college. This is a smart thing. You will knock out your first 2 years of gen eds anyway. So it really, to us, it didn't matter whether you got them at a Ringling or a SCAD or at a Valencia. That, to us, you're getting your gen eds, and those kind of paved the way to go anywhere else. So that was one thing that we were really, tried to advise him, and, struggling academically. He was just struggling through high school, and it was really hard to watch him do that. So building his study habits were really important for us to say, you maybe you need like a little buffer year to kind of like step up a little bit so you can build those better study habits into a four-year university.
Well, so I want to push on that a little bit, Phyllis, and I want to make sure I understand. So I'm just thinking back to my experience as a parent. It's like one thing to know what the right answer is in your heart, but also knowing that the decisions, have to be your child's decision. Ultimately, it's your children that's sort of the beneficial owner of that decision, right? They have to live in the college life. They have to do the things that they do. And I'm just curious, I, I guess maybe to even back up a little bit further, my impression is that community college is pretty uncool if you're a high school student. Like nobody is going, yes, I'm going to Nova, or yay, I got into Valencia, right? They want to talk about scat or Ringling or whatever. So how did that go? Like I get, and maybe this is both a question for both Phyllis and Vinny. Like Phyllis, how did you artfully get Vinny there? And then Vinny, how did that feel to you? And how did you ultimately sort of come along with that decision?
You want me to start? Because I can totally start on this, Vinny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please, Phyllis.
Yeah, go for it.
Kicking and screaming really isn't that far off base here. It was a hard decision. It was really hard. Um, convincing, convincing this child that, oh my gosh, this is really the right way to do it. And having him go, no, I'm not going to 13th grade because that's really how he saw this. I don't want to live at home. I don't want this experience. And we had to really get creative and find some other options. And then, we found housing. We found a community college with housing. And there are several in Florida. And, the more we look, they're kind of all over the place. You just have to look for them.
Right. So that was part of it, Vinny, was I don't want, it wasn't as much about the name of the school, or maybe that was part of it, but a big part of it was I'm ready to not live with my parents.
It was that I really disliked it because the sentiment, and to be completely truthful, it's not completely unfounded, is that, oh, well, community college is where you go when it's like you just don't know what's like, you don't know what to do. You're just gonna like go because you want to do high school more. And it's like you're not going there because you're, a genius. It's kind of, the perception is it's like, oh, that's the dead end. And unfortunately, it is kind of brutal statistics. The amount of people who go to a community college that will transfer in is very low. It's around 13% will actually go to a 4-year university. I think that number should be much, much higher.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I'll tell you a little story. So I used to work for one of the big four accounting firms, KPMG, and one of my jobs was I was the lead advisory partner at James Madison University. And what that really meant was I sort of coordinated all of our recruiting activities. So we would hire, between externships, internships, and full-time hires, we would hire about 100-ish JMU students a year into our firm, either in Tysons or Richmond or Roanoke or North, kind of in the Mid-Atlantic area. So JMU was a big, it was one of our biggest colleges where the firm hired the most students. I mean, we were at other big schools too, but JMU was definitely a significant school. I tell you this story, that backdrop, because one of the things that we were very focused on was that we didn't always have successful hires. We would go through the interview process, we would do our best, we would find the majors that we wanted, we would get kids with great GPAs, 3.2, 3.5 or higher, right? So these were the kind of students that we could bring in, right, that were interested in working for the firm. We get STEM students, we get business students, that sort of thing. But they always didn't work out. And one of the reasons we figured out that they didn't work out was because while on paper they had all that stuff, what we figured out was a handful of them were what we called the victims of bulldozer parents, or they were concierged, right? So they got the good grades, they got this sort of advantages mostly because they had the best help money could buy, right? But when it really came down to it, when the shit got real, when they got in front of the clients, when they had to work their first 80-hour work week, they just kind of blew up, right? So that's where the resilience cracks showed. So the reason I'm saying this is because we loved the 2x2 students because they tended to be the most resilient students. So these were the students that went to, in our case, it was Blue Ridge Community College, or maybe Northern Virginia Community College, or one of the other Virginia community colleges, and then transferred in. They got the good grades, they were in the right major, whatever, but that transfer experience was the great resilience signal. So when you talk about that only, a small percentage of students do the transfer to a four-year resi, my response to that is so too bad, because my only complaint as that hiring manager was that there were just not enough of these resilient students that had done the 2 years in community and had transferred over for us to pick from. There just weren't enough.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that, because I do see that in my friends who went to community college, who are here with me now at UCF. We want to be here. We fought tooth and nail to be here, through
Right.
whatever hangups we had in community college. And I'm in what's considered a pretty difficult class right now. It's a quantitative analytics class. And one of the students in it was, oh, well, I've heard from other people, like, it's hard to get more than a C, so I'll just take the C in this class and be happy with it. And I was just thinking, I'm going to get the A in this class, or I'm going to die trying getting the A in this class. Um, I think community college really teaches you, just, if you want to be here, you got to fight to be here. You're not being given this. This isn't like someone kind of pushing you through. You're being thrown to the wolves, and you need to prove that you can make your way out of it, you know?
Yep. Good. Well, sounds like you're doing great, Vinny. I tell you, if you can get an A in some of those quant finance classes, you're doing pretty darn good. So I wanted to ask Phyllis another question. So, in my book, while I guess I'm the official author, really you wrote about Vinny's experience in my book. So I was just curious, like, what insights did you gain from reflecting on and documenting his journey? And did that influence any way how you view decision making when it comes to college?
Oh, I think so. I think, reflecting on what he went through, how much he's grown, having the community college experience, transferring, switching majors, all the thing. I mean, I have so much more hindsight now than, when we wrote that part of the book. The validation was just, oh my gosh, this was the right thing. As a parent, you're just not sure sometimes. Kids don't come with instruction manuals. So you try to guide them with what you know, with by your morals, your inner compass, your core values, all of it. But seeing them succeed is validation of just knowing that,
Right.
What we did worked for this child, and it is working, and we're so thrilled to just see his transformation and see him mature and grow and just become this, really grow into the bright person we always knew he was.
Right. Awesome. Now, what year are you, Vinny?
So I'm finishing up my junior year right now.
Okay, so do you have your internship for this summer lined up, which is usually the path of?
Yes, I
junior?
do. Yeah, so this last November, I was really lucky to get a internship offer with Walmart as a merchandising financial analyst. So I'll be up in Arkansas this summer.
Nice, very nice. Well, that's some little firm that I've heard of called Walmart. So yeah,
Right. And might I add a correction? It wasn't fortune. It was a lot of hard work. What he did was set a goal. By Thanksgiving, Mom, I want an internship in my pocket. When I come home for Thanksgiving, I want to tell you guys that I have it secured. And he sent out hundreds upon hundreds of resumes and applications and all of
right,
it.
right.
Yeah,
Now,
sophomore year.
does the school, Vinny, have like handshake or like the capability that helps you to push out your information to different employers?
Yes. So UCF does have Handshake, as I believe most colleges do. What helped me secure my internship was actually through my my RSO, Registered Student Organization. For those of you who don't know, there's a lot of great ones on campus. The Accounting Student Society. What I'm in is the Financial Management Association. A lot of firms go straight to RSOs to recruit, which is a big thing if you're a first-time college student. Join an RSO. they come to recruit, and that's how I got my Walmart interview, as well as a few others, and that's the one I ended up getting. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I've actually presented to the FMA before, so yeah, I know them well. And actually, at JMU, they are the largest organization for finance students. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a couple others, but yeah, yeah, and I agree. Lots of employers show up, and I actually think one of the things that you're, I think, alluding to a little bit is taking advantage of networking opportunities.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that, I mean, you talk a little bit about that, Vinny? Did you go to, like, do they have like a meet the employers night or other opportunities for you to go? And did you go to those events?
Every single one. Being in an RSO, there's actually exclusive events just for students within those societies, to meet with higher level recruiters from like KPMG and Deloitte. They don't usually come to like the big all student orgos. But like we have at UCF, it's called the Invitational. Lockheed Martin, a lot of big firms come to recruit from there. But every single networking opportunity I took advantage from, even while in community college, I secured a UCF email because I got in. I was
Love
accepted
it.
in. So using that email, I would sneak into the just any event I could, just to get some face-to-face time. I will say what really helped me snag this internship this year was sophomore year. I was able to do an internship with the Boy Scouts of America. So that really helped
Nice.
me boost it up. And that was in part due to the interview skills I learned sneaking into invitational events.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that makes me think of, honestly, Vinny, is, and one of the things that I share with others is, say, so like at KPMG, I was, think of me like I was the big boss. Maybe I had the last interview at the end of, maybe in their junior year or even in their senior year when we're making the decision whether to extend an offer. But what I always reminded students was, I get 30 minutes, let's say, with a student, that has kind of passed all the screens, so to speak. I get 30 minutes. Sure, I have an interview. And of course, in 30 minutes, I can learn a little bit of something about that student, right? But the truth is, when we go into decision making, I will gather every single person that they had a discussion with over the last year and a half and ask them what they thought, right? Because I know I couldn't have possibly know everything there is to know about this person. And so if you go to the networking events, if you go to office hours, if you make impressions, that's what the hiring managers really rely on. And I feel like so many students think of it like as a single interview. And I would say that's not the right way to think of it. Think of it as a year and a half long interview that just
Yeah.
happens to have one last one. But and the more impressions you can make along the way. And I think, and there's another thing that you just said, which is practice, right? Like, you're a college student. There's no way you should even know how to be really good at interviewing. It's like anything else. It's just practice, building confidence. And it sounds like, Vinny, you've really stepped into that role quite well.
Thank you.
So anyway, well, what I'd like to start kind of wrapping up here, and thank you both so much for this, for being on today. I've really enjoyed this conversation. So, I what I like to do now is maybe for each one of you, and Vinny, we'll start with you, but to kind of summarize a little bit, and in terms of, if you had to summarize and based on this journey, if you could share just a couple of like top dot points or top things for people to consider, whether you're the student or the parent, um, when you're considering community college as a stepping stone to a four-year degree.
So I will say, community college can feel like kind of a social sacrifice. You're not with the people you might want to be with. But it's for 2 years, and in those 2 years, you will save, especially if you are not in the state of Florida, tens of thousands of dollars. And graduating college, that cash basis is going to be with you, and you will be starting out light years ahead of your constituents. And then, other than that, just take every opportunity, wherever it is, even if you don't think it's right for you or you're not ready for it. Take it, grab it, run with it.
And I'll go ahead and jump in from the parent's perspective. Watching your child grow from someone who is not confident, who is, filled with anxiety about which direction they should go in, watching them grow through this experience and seeing it come out on the other end, it is just so gratifying. It really is so satisfying watching Vincent grow through this and really become the person we always knew he could be, and just killing it. Like, I can't
Wow.
say enough great things. Like, we are so proud of this kid.
Well, I have to tell you, the before and after Vinny you described, Phyllis, the after Vinny, I can't imagine what that before Vinny was like. That is not who that person is standing, sitting before us right now. So that's pretty cool. Well, thank you both so much for that. And the whole point of this is to share with others your journey, Vinny, but also really to add credibility. College in the United States is expensive. Vinny, you're a finance guy now, so you get the time value of money and compounding interest and how it can work to your benefit, but it can certainly work against you when
Absolutely.
you're borrowing, right, when you're on the other side of that. So clearly you've kind of captured that value. But the other thing is, honestly, Vinny, I see before me a joyful, happy, confident young man, and
Thank you.
that's I think that's channeling parenthood here. I think that's what we all really hope for. So that's really quite a wonderful thing. So anyway, well, thank you both very much. And again, Phyllis, I'm still trying to get you to find time to help me with my next book. I will keep asking. You keep saying no, but at some point I'm going to wear you down, I promise.
I'm working on it. I'm trying. I'm trying.
All right. Well, you all have a wonderful day. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so
You as
much
well.
for
Thanks for
having
having
us,
us
Jeff.
on.
Take care.
Yep.